In brief, I'm going to move some second amendments after this, but I've moved this amendment separately because I understand that the government is going to support this amendment, and so I'll speak to all amendments in my second speech.
No problem. So the question before the House is the amendment be agreed to. I'll put the question. Those opinions say aye. Against no. I think the ayes have it. Give the call to the honourable member for Wentworth.
I move Amendment 2 as circulated in my name. Deputy Speaker, it is no secret that Australia is in a domestic and family violence crisis. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 14 men have experienced violence by an intimate partner. According to the Status of Women report, 37 women were killed by a current or former intimate partner in 2024. 37 women. This is why I welcome this legislation, particularly the extension of special circumstances waiver. This will finally make the provision for victim survivors of financial abuse who have provided false information as a result of coercive control. It was a key recommendation of the 2024 Parliamentary Inquiry into Financial Abuse. But when I speak to community legal centres, peak bodies and survivor advocates, the message is clear. We must not only support those in crisis, we must ensure that systems are there for people who have already when they have made the brave decision to leave. That is what my amendment seeks to do. It focuses on the Family Violence Crisis Payment, a one-off, non-taxable payment designed to support people experiencing extreme circumstances and severe financial hardship. Right now, it is not working in the way that it should. According to the 2025 Economic Inclusion Advisory Committee report, only half of the potentially eligible people access the crisis payment, and many are rejected on technical grounds. That is not what a crisis response should do. Victim survivors who are navigating police reports, relocating children, enrolling in new schools or seeking medical support are being penalised because they do not file paperwork in time or because their housing situation does not meet the outdated bureaucratic definition. This must change. So firstly, I'm calling on the government to extend the 7-day claim period. 7 days is an incredibly short period of time when someone is in trauma and in chaos. Survivors often do not know that the payment even exists within that time frame, let alone have the capacity to fill out the Centrelink paperwork, navigate online portals or prove the case while they're in hiding. The 2025 report found that 7.7% of rejections were due to missed deadlines, including many more who'd never applied because they were already outside the time limit. A short window should not be the reason why someone cannot receive help in a moment of need. Secondly, my amendments cover the definition of home because under the current definition, the current rules, it is too narrow. Many of the most vulnerable victim survivors live or are forced to move to informal, temporary or unsafe accommodation, such as tents, hostels or crisis refuges, which are not legally defined as home in the Act. This disproportionately affects people who are already on the margins. I urge the government to replace the word home with place of residence in the legislation to ensure that we do not exclude those most in need. Third, the current rules require that the applicants show they are establishing a new home. This is unnecessary. Under the Social Security Act, a person must already demonstrate that they cannot return to their previous home, and it is unreasonable for them to expect to. Requiring evidence that a person is setting up a new permanent home, especially in the middle of a housing crisis, is unrealistic and counterproductive. The government's own figures show that 13.8% of crisis payment claims were rejected due to this condition or because the perpetrator was not formally registered as living with the applicant. Survivors may be moving from couch to couch, refuge to refuge. The system should recognise that fleeing violence is the crisis, not whether the new lease has been signed. These changes are small, common-sense adjustments, but they could be the difference between someone getting some real support when they need it or falling through the cracks. It is all about the detail for them. This payment can be life-saving. It helps pay for housing bonds, new school uniforms, urgent medical costs, or simply a safe night in a motel. It can offer a moment of dignity in a moment of chaos and can help a survivor and their children take their first steps on a life free from violence. I thank the government for its ongoing commitment to addressing family and domestic violence. I thank the minister for the constructive engagement that we have had on these amendments. But I do urge the government and the minister to adopt these amendments and to support these changes. They've been recommended by experts, including the Economic Advisory Committee, and well supported by the people I speak to in the sector, including those who have survived this experience themselves. Let's make the crisis payment work for the people it's meant to serve, and I commend this amendment.